All right, so inflation. I did mention this last month, I'm going to mention it again. In July 2023, it was stated that the MPC forecasted a bank rate average of 5.5% over the next 3 years. Yeah, so we're at 5.25% at the moment, but July 2023, they forecasted for the next 3 years that it was going to be around 5.5%. Yeah, MPC will monitor indications of persistent inflationary pressures and resilience in the economy as a whole, including the underlying tightness of the labor market, wage growth, and services price inflation. So these are the three things that the Monetary Policy Committee at the Bank of England are going to be looking at going forwards when they're judging where the bank rate is going to be the next month. Aside from that, they're also going to be looking, it also depends on the warfare and everything that's going on around the world, which the UK sort of got a toe in, let's put it that way. But yeah, all these things are sort of going to come into play when they're talking about the bank rate and where it's going to go. I'm still saying, I've been saying this for the past couple months, and I'm still saying 5.25% is a good place to be. I don't see, I see them going against themselves if they bring it down, and there's probably a potential that it could go up even further. I did speak on that last month, so feel free to go online and check out what I said about that. So the Office of Budget Responsibility have stated in their latest Economic and Fiscal Outlook report that in this scenario, considering where we are right now, if it was to continue, inflation spikes back up to over 7%. If this was to happen, it is expected that there will be further increases in bank rate, understandably. Monetary policy will need to remain restrictive for sufficiently long to return inflation to the 2% target sustainable in the medium term in line with the MPC's remit. So this medium term, I did say this last month as well, came in 2022 for 5 years. Yeah, so that's literally from 2022 up to 2027. So that's the medium term they're talking about. So they're looking to keep the bank rate restrictive for sufficiently long to return inflation down to 2% within these 5 years. So we're in 2024 now, 3 more years. Yeah, these are where the forecasts are at quickly. So this is roughly where we're at the moment. The OBR, which is the Office of Budget Responsibilities, are forecasting it to go down further. So this is inflation, CPI inflation, to go down and then slightly go up a little bit and level out from the middle of 2025 onwards. And the Bank of England expect it to go up slightly to the middle of this year and then level out from next year. However, this page in particular always changes. There's always a different update depending on what's going on in the world. Now, looking at the charts, so the first thing we'll look at is owner-occupier costs and CPIH. So in February, CPIH was 3.8%, CPI was 3.4%, and owner-occupier costs, housing costs was 6%. Owner-occupier costs, the main thing that kind of contributes to that is mortgage payments, yeah? You've got estate agent fees, insurance, and all these kind of things as well, but that's the main thing. CPIH is basically CPI, which is inflation, but it's got the owner-occupier costs attached to it, if that makes sense, yeah? So right now, the difference between these two mainly comes down to owner-occupier costs, especially because it's so high at the moment. This month, CPI has gone down to 3.2%, CPIH stayed at 3.8%, and owner-occupier costs went up to 6.3%. Owner-occupier costs right now, as you can see from this graph, that's the highest it's been. I believe that measure was started in 2006, and this is the highest it's ever been. Owner-occupier costs going up is one of the main things that's affecting this recession that we're in. So yeah, just bear that in mind, because I know a lot of people are seeing inflation going down and they're thinking happy days, everything's going to go back to normal. But then with owner-occupier costs being as high as it is right now and wage growth not going up with that, yeah, it's a different sort of challenge that the economy has to deal with. Wage growth, let me even show you that as well. So this is year on year, yeah? So it's comparing it to the year before. I was trying to find something about wage growth, just talking about what's going on now at the moment. The one graph that I did see, but it just wasn't clear enough and it didn't allow me to zoom in, was showing that wage growth is actually going up. But then on a year on year, I think this is still quite interesting to look at, because as you can see from July 2023 up until now, on a year on year, wage growth has been steadily decreasing. It had a quick bit of a sharp drop there, and then it's gone back up. It did rise and then went down. I think that's when we were just coming out of COVID, to be honest. And then it's steadily rising up, but then it shot back down, and I think it's been at 5.6% for the past 2 months. So again, another thing to pay attention to. Unemployment rate from December to February, December 2023 to February 2024 is currently at 4.2%. Now, when it starts creeping up towards 5%, that's when a recession is very obvious. 4.2% is a bit scary. 3.9% is what it was on the marker before, so the 3 months before that. It's gone up to 4.2. So again, unemployment's definitely something to pay attention to. 71.5% of the upward contribution of household and housing services to inflation is attributed by owner-occupier costs. So if I go back to here quickly, all right, so just like it was last month, food and non-alcoholic beverages, clothing and footwear, furniture and household goods, these are the things that are sort of bringing inflation down. However, the most significant thing, and this is CPIH we're looking at, is housing and household services. Around 71% of that comes down to your mortgage costs, estate agent fees, insurance, all that kind of stuff, but mainly your mortgages, and that is obviously having a reflect on rents. Rightmove have proposed the average 5-year mortgage rate now at 4.84%. So the mortgage brokers are doing what they can to sort of like bring the mortgage rates lower than what the bank rate is currently. But then the bank rate goes up, then they're going to have to raise the mortgage rates and everything to at least where the bank rate is and probably a little bit higher. So if you're looking to get a property, if you're looking to do certain things, they always ask when's a good time. Considering what's going on right now, now is probably a good time, just in case anything sort of comes in. And when you're doing it as well, think long term. You have to think long term. If you're thinking short term and you're just thinking about your pockets now, yeah, it may do you a favor now, it might hurt you in the long run. So just make sure you're thinking long term and do what's best for you and your family or your investment. Does anyone have any further comments with regards to mortgage rates, agent fees, anything like that?
I would probably just say that I agree. We're bank rate's 5.25. We're looking at 5.04 for 5 years. So, yeah, it's just true what you've just said, really. Yeah.
If you're looking at mortgages in a company, for example, they can be considerably more than that for 5 years. I think I've quoted that for some 2 years, even 1 year. They're even doing 1 year fixed because it's sort of uncertain.
Yeah.
But it goes up to kind of 6-7% more for the longer term ones.
Yeah. Could you see that going up as well if the bank rate went up? Could you see those going up potentially, or do you think they'll sort of like just keep them where they are?
I like to sugarcoat things, so I'm hoping that they're trying to compete against each other and keep rates as low as possible. But I don't know, anything is possible.
Yeah.
When you say you go through a company, does that mean you're buying it through like a limited? Yeah, so it's higher.
Yeah, and then particularly if you're looking at creating strategies like service accommodation mortgages and stuff, the percents are gets very expensive.
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to speak a little bit more about employment, wage growth, and all these sorts of things that's going on at the moment that's sort of keeping this recession where we currently are at the moment. So